Oh hey, today is a big day. I finally got my teaching degree and can become a full-time teacher at colleges. I just got a job teaching conceptual arts at a community college in North Fort Wayne, Indiana, which I start right now. Good morning, class. My name is Mr. Niko Adams, and I'll be teaching conceptual arts starting today. A few things to know about me before we get started. Number 1, I like Dunkin' Donuts. Number 2, I hate Alex Kidd. And number 3, I'm searching for a game that goes by Naruto Ultimate Ninja 5. Any questions? Okay, let's get started with the lesson, shall we? Let's talk making a video game console. Ever wonder what it'd be like to make your own anything? To be in a position to bring whatever crazy ideas you have to life and show the world just how f***ed up you are? I know I have, and the main thing that always comes to mind whenever I start conceptualizing something are video games. Whether it be a sequel to a game or a flat out remake with all new features and quality of life improvements that'll make it feel like an entirely different game just kind of gets me going, you know? But it doesn't even stop there. Sometimes I'll come up with my own stories, new characters, music direction, gameplay styles, DLC, entirely new IPs, the works, but I've never thought about the main thing you would need to play these games: the consoles. The console is like the bread to a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. With no bread, you've just got peanut butter and jelly, and that's disgusting. That's why I decided to conceptualize my own game console, for fun, and what better game company to do this with than Nintendo? I feel like it'd be pretty fun to go over the things I'd love to see in a future Nintendo console. Now keep in mind that this is gonna get pretty crazy and is in no way, shape, or form predicting the future of Nintendo or going over rumors or anything. Just pure fun coming up with my own ideas for a Nintendo console that I'd like to see. So when it comes to making a video game console, I believe there are 6 crucial steps we should focus on here. Name and design, features, box art, interface, games, and price. The first place I want us to focus on is the name and design. So first things first, the name. What would I want my own Nintendo console to be called? Well, I've decided to call it the Nintendo Fusion, or Nintendo Fuse for short. The reason why I went with that is because I want it to be the ultimate successor to not only the Nintendo Switch, but every other Nintendo console, hence the name Nintendo Fusion, because I want it to be a fusion of every single Nintendo console, mainly on the software side of things, but there are some hardware doodads I'd like to throw in the mix, which brings me to the design and controller. I'd like for the overall shape and body to be relatively simple. Nintendo doesn't have to have this completely unique design or shape to make a console look nice. In fact, I think they're already doing a pretty good job with the way some of their home consoles look now, so I think the Nintendo Fusion body should remain relatively simple. And of course I'd like for the console to be able to stand vertically with the help of a special stand similar to the Wii and Wii U Deluxe set. The controller is a similar story. I'd like for it to retain a body similar to the Switch Pro controller with some adjustments. For starters, I'd like for the analog sticks to be moved more towards the bottom and right next to each other. I feel like this would add a bit more comfort to the hands, having the sticks be in a similar location to controllers like the Wii Classic Controller Pro, and the DualShock. Don't get me wrong, I think the Switch Pro controller is one of the most comfortable controllers I've held, but it has a design layout eerily similar to Xbox's controllers, and thus, I wanted to make a new one. Other little changes include a new, bigger home button with the start and select buttons on both sides like the Xbox 360 controller, no share button this time, as I feel like all of those features could be implemented into the select button, and maybe have the D-pad moved all the way to the left and have it be a little bigger. And that's how the GameCube was conceived. Any questions? Tough crowd. Alright, now it's time to go over one of the most important aspects of a console, the features. With the name and design out of the way, I think it's time I shifted gears onto whatever the hell I have on the front of this box. I've got an interesting amount of things going on here. For starters, we have a disk drive that's able to read not only Nintendo Fusion games, but is 100% backwards compatible with the Wii, Wii U, and GameCube. I feel like that should be a staple with all video game consoles, because there are a lot of people who like to hold on to their older games, and with consoles like the Switch being fully cartridge based or the PS5 not even being able to acknowledge anything before the PS4, I think this level of backwards compatibility is more than sufficient. But not sufficient enough, because I also want it to be backwards compatible with the Switch as well. That's what this little slot here is underneath the disk drive, a full-fledged cartridge reader, and mainly for the Nintendo Switch games. I tried to think of a way for it to be able to take the DS and 3DS as well, but that just doesn't sound right. Instead, I'd like for all of Nintendo's older games to be purchasable digitally. This obviously includes the NES, SNES, N64, GameCube, Wii, and Wii U for those who prefer those games digitally, the Switch, DS, 3DS, Game Boy family, and even the Game & Watch. But that also begs the question, how are you going to be able to play not only Wii U, but DS and 3DS games on this thing? I thought I'd never ask. Enter the Nintendo Fuse's second screen add-on that comes standard with the console. I'd obviously want for it to be touchscreen and have gyro controls, but also have it connect to the controller from the top and be about the same size as the 2DS XL's top screen, if not a little bigger. An NFC reader for Amiibo, enhanced HD rumble, replaceable analog sticks and faceplates for the front of the controller, and a microphone for those games that require it. And while we're at it, I think it being compatible with the Joy-Cons and other controllers such as the Switch Pro controller and Wii Classic controller makes a lot of sense here as well, so we're gonna have all the controllers be compatible here. Now it's time to get back to this thing. What are the rest of these ports here? Obviously we have some USB-A ports, and I decided to go with 4 as I feel like it gives more incentive for local co-op, which has kind of always been Nintendo's thing. And considering that I want this to be backwards compatible with every generation of Nintendo consoles, I would hope that 4 USB-A ports would be the minimum that they go with. I also think having 2 USB-C ports would be pretty cool also, and mainly for fast charging. And the last 2 ports I have up here are memory card slots. I just feel like they have a certain charm to them being all blocky and storing data, and I'd like to see them brought back in some way. They don't have to be mandatory for playing and saving game data, but with how game sizes seem to be increasing more and more, I think having memory cards make a little bit of sense here. Plus I miss the little save data icons and animations we used to have with these. I also think it'd be really cool if we could have themed memory cards like a Mario one or a Link one, and not too crazy in terms of design or detail. I just think it'd be fun having different memory cards with Nintendo characters on them ranging in size. Alright, now it's time for the box art. I went with a similar look to both the Wii and Wii U cases as I feel like those are some of the best looking they've made. I want the boxes to be like the colored DVD cases they've been using for those consoles, but instead of white or blue, I want them to be fully red with white accents. I feel like this is the perfect color choice to go with because it literally screams Nintendo. Red and white is their whole thing, so what better color choice to have for game cases than the official Nintendo colors? I also want the spine to house the logo of the game again. With the Switch cases, they got rid of that entirely and replaced it with just plain white text, which makes looking at them on a shelf feel boring and depressing. Not saying that the cases themselves are boring and depressing, just that when you have multiple games on a shelf and you can see the dynamic eye-catching logo, it just makes your collection pop more in my opinion, so I would love for Nintendo to start doing that again. Finally, a question! Someone seems interested in my lesson! What can I help you with?
May I use the bathroom, teacher?
No! Raise your hand if you think the Nintendo Switch interface looks boring and should be better.
You're the teacher.
I think it's time for a complete overhaul. I want the interface of a new Nintendo console to be great. No more of this simple box-like black or white aesthetic Nintendo went for with the Switch. It looks like I'm using a worse version of Windows 8, and let me tell you, that ain't good. It's the function over form approach, why have a completely complicated system that may be hard to navigate through but looks nice when you can have a system that actually functions properly but loses all sense of personality in the process, thus making it function over form. And I don't want that. Look, I'm someone that's best friends with this, alright? I think it's been well documented that I'm a fucking maniac, but I don't want form over function either. I want form and function both aligning with each other well to make a nice, smooth, positive experience navigating through the Nintendo Fusion's UI. I don't want a repeat of the Switch, instead I want something like the Wii mixed in with both the Wii U and 3DS. What I mean by that is, have something that mixes in different elements of all 3 UIs, like it can have the Wii U's different colored folders, and the Wii channels again, just called Fuse channels, or the 3DS's customization like different themes, and speaking of that, I want for there to be themes on the console again, as well as custom downloadable themes shared by individual players via a new custom theme shop, or a new Nintendo social media service similar to Miiverse. We'll call it Nintendo Galaxy for now. Of course, having a friends list, the eShop, even a party chat that's not reliant on a smartphone would come standard, and I would like for the Mii channel to come back. It's been reduced to such a shell of its former self since the Wii, and I'd argue even the 3DS. At least they walked around. With the Wii U and Switch, there is no sense of personality here, and I want that to change. Have the Miis actually do something besides just stand there, like interacting with other Miis or doing little activities like hula hooping or juggling, playing fake video games like in Tomodachi Life. Hell, even something as simple as playing the guitar and having the theme song change to a guitar theme would be appreciated. It would make them feel alive and give more players a reason to actually use this, but I digress. Bottom line is, I want more fun with the console besides just the games, and that includes the UI, because as it stands now with other game consoles, the UI is the last thing on anyone's mind, going for blocky and bland with no music, no fun little applications or minigames to pass the time, hardly any color, and if there is color, it's very dark and bland, making it look a lot less appealing to me, and most importantly, no real sense of personality. Like if I look at the Xbox Series X and Xbox One's interface, I'd swear they were on the exact same console, and the same goes for the PS5 and PS4 as well. Now on to the games. I've already mentioned how I want the Fusion to be backwards compatible with every single Nintendo console, both digitally and physically, but I never went over the original titles for the console, so here we are. First things first, I believe in order to really sell this console as the next generation of Nintendo, both new and old, it's gonna need to come out with at least 11 to 15 games, 5 of which being mainline Nintendo titles. I'm talking a new F-Zero game, Star Fox, Zelda, most likely an HD remake, Metroid Prime 4 if Nintendo ever decides to release that, and the next big 3D Mario game, which I would like to be called Super Mario Universe. Not a direct sequel to Mario Galaxy or anything, just a new open world Mario game titled this. The other 6 to 10 titles can be reserved for smaller original titles or third party support. I'd also like for some other Nintendo heavy hitters to release in the following months. For starters, I think the console should have released no later than December this time, as this would make the perfect Christmas gift for a lot of kids. Release the console alongside all of the games I just mentioned and leave the upcoming year for even bigger, better games, like a new Splatoon game, Kirby, Pokemon, and Mario Kart, and I'd say Nintendo's got themselves a damn good year. Hell, I'll even do you one better. Have Super Mario Universe be a pack-in title for the console, and it's gonna be fucking legendary. And that's how you release a good game alongside a console. And the most important point, which I've saved for last, is the pricing. This is what's really gonna determine whether or not the console will be an instant success. Since I'd want for the console to release in December around Christmas time, I think there should be 2 separate releases, one without a pack-in title and one with it, going for around $350 for the standard model and $400 for the pack-in model. And I'd say a good release date for this would have to be either December 5th or the 10th. The reason why I priced it like that is because I'd want this console to come jam-packed with content to ensure a long-lasting lifespan, and I'm fairly certain adding all the stuff I mentioned that I wanted for the console would cost a ton of money, so I wouldn't really be upset with the pricing for both variants. They gotta earn that money back somehow. And speaking of money, I just got fired! It's something about revoking my students' rights to bear bathroom privileges, so here I am, unemployed again with no money and bad credit to boot, so I've gotta find a new source of income. But I'm just gonna make Let's Play videos on YouTube. Hey players, Niko Plays Games here, and welcome to my Let's Play of Super Mario Bros. For the Nintendo Entertainment System. This is my first Let's Play, and I'm a really big Nintendo and Mario fan. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe for part 2 where I actually start the game.